Hello and welcome to this Android VideoView tutorial brought to you by North Border Tech Training. My name is Gary, and in this video tutorial we're going to look at how to program the video view, and we'll be doing this in the Kotlin programming language. This will be a beginner's level tutorial, so I'm just going to keep it down to the fundamental things we need to actually make the video view work. I won't put any extra code in there. That also helps us keep the tutorial short. So let's get straight on with the programming, and let's just create a new project. I'm just going to call this video view Kotlin. And what we need to do is make sure we've got the include the Kotlin support. So I'm actually running Android Studio 3.0 here. That has the native support for Kotlin in place. So just make sure that's actually checked. And we'll keep it down to a minimum release of Lollipop. I'm compiling against Android 8 here, so it's going to catch about 71% of the devices that are out there. Okay, so let's just go for next, and I'm just going to create an empty activity here. Don't want any extra code, just to keep things simple. Don't want any extra clutter in there. So let's just keep these things as default, and let's get this built. Okay, that project's built now, and you'll notice we've got the main activity.kt here for a Kotlin file. That's really the only real differences between a Kotlin and Java. It's really what we do in the main activity in terms of programming. First thing we want to do is actually build a layout. So just going to click on the activity main tab. Okay, so we want to get rid of this hello world text view. We're just going to add a video view in there. So let's just search for a video view. And there we are, and we can just drag this in place. So I've got the auto constraints on because I really just want to place this video view in the center. I'm going to change the ID here, so I just call it VV for video view, and I'm just going to call it video view. Okay, and the other thing I would want to do is actually change the parameters here. I want to make the width match the parent, so I'm just going to go to the text view, and I'm just going to match the parent for the width. So just make that match parent. Okay, so that's our layout completed. I'm going to write this tutorial in a way that handles screen rotations properly. It's an actual thing to do with video. You don't always want to view it in portrait mode. You might want to flip the device on its side to view things in landscape mode. There are a couple of things we need to do. We really do want to create a layout for the landscape mode, and that's what we're going to do next. Also as well, when we come down to the programming, we want to make sure that when we do that rotation, that we don't reset the video to play from the start. So there are things we need to do to make sure the playback picks up from where the actual rotation happens, but we'll cover those later on in the tutorial. For the moment though, let's get on with the landscape layout. And what you can do is just click on the project files here. If you go to this project tab and just expand this out, you'll see here we've got the resources. What we would want to do is create a folder for the layout land. So we're going to create a new resource folder. So if you just right click over the resources, we're going to go Android resource directory. I'm going to drop this down here. I'm going to make this a layout. I'm just going to call it land, and we'll just say orientation. Click this over. We're going to say landscape, and click OK. You can see it's actually put in a new directory for us here. What we do, we just use the same basic layout. So we just copy that, and we'll just paste it in there. You can see it's brought up the the landscape version here. All we want to do is actually swap the match parent around with the wrap contents. Let's just do that now. Okay, so that's our layouts complete. The next thing we want to do is actually get the video in place. Now we do this by making or creating a raw folder in the resources as well. We're actually just going to drop a video clip into that raw folder. So if you just right click over the resources again and just say new directory and just call it raw. And what we want to do then is just cut and paste a video clip in there. So I've got one which I prepared earlier here. I've just called this one test video, so I'll just copy that. Let's make a copy of the test video. We just need to just paste it in there. So that's the video we're going to reference. You can use the video view for streaming videos from the internet. I'll explain what you need to do to allow you to do that with the video view. If you are doing that, you will need to add the internet permissions in the Android manifest, but we're just going to keep this one really simple and use the locally stored video. Okay, so let's go to the Android manifest because there's actually one change I want to make there. So here's the Android manifest. Let's get a copy up. Now I mentioned earlier that I want to handle orientation changes, so I just want to put a reference in there. It's just an Android label in the activity, so Android config changes, and we're going to make that equal to orientation. So if you just go to under the activity here, we can just add that in. It'll be config changes and it'll be equal to orientation. That just informs the app that we're going to be changing from portrait landscape. I'm going to use what we call the onsaved instance state callback methods to handle that properly. We'll put some code in there when we get around to the coding. That should become clear as to what we're going to be doing. When the actual rotation is finished, there's another method as well, which is the onRestore instance state, and we'll call that one as well. So don't worry about that. Let's just handle that when we actually get around to the programming. Good. So we can just get on with the coding now. So the first thing we want to do is actually just create a couple of objects. We want to have reference to the position in the playback, which is actually in milliseconds. So we're just going to create a variable for that. We'll just make it a private variable because you want it contained to this class. I'm just going to call it position. I'm going to make that equal to 0. So Kotlin automatically recognizes that as an integer, just squishes it to a value, so it's implied that it's going to be an integer, so we don't need to make that particular statement. I do want to create a variable as well for some media controls, and we'll just set that one up. We'll just call these media controls. So the media controls are obviously going to be the controls for the video. So that would be the play buttons, pause button, stop button, and rewind buttons. We'll put those and we'll deal with those media controls a little bit later on in the coding. So this is going to be of type media controller. So here we have to inform Kotlin that it's going to be type media controller. We're just going to set that equal to null for the moment. Okay. Okay, so what we'll do now is just set those media controls up, and we'll do that within the onCreate function. So if you just go down here, and we'll just what we want to do is just save the media controls are equal to null. Then we'll make a new instance of the media controllers. So it'll be if media controls are null, which they are in the first time round, and let's get that spelled right. and we'll just set the media controls. And we need to put a reference to the context, and we do this in Kotlin by typing this and then an @ it'll be main activity. Okay, so that's the media control set. So the next task is to actually load the video. Okay, and what I want to do, I'm going to surround this while you're trying to catch. We don't have to do it, but my view is that if we're referencing a URI where we're going to look for a file, or whether that could be an internet URI, and there's a problem, then we don't really want the app to crash. So I think it's good practice just to use a try and a catch here. So let's just set the try up, and we'll just deal with the catch a little bit later. So what we'll do is associate now the media controls to the actual video view, and we can do that with just a single line of code, and we're just going to call a method set media controller against the video view. So it'll be VV video view. We're going to set it here from the main activity, and you notice here Kotlin has actually imported the IDs from the layout file itself. So this is a real neat feature within Kotlin, that we don't need to use the find view by ID method as we do with Java. It makes sense really, because we've associated the this Kotlin activity with a layout file, and there's views in that layout file, and they all have a unique ID. So why not just reference those IDs directly? Kotlin automatically makes that association, just draws everything in. So it does make our life a lot simpler. There's a lot less code to actually put in place. So all right, let's just set the media controls. So it'll be set. Just use the dot notation again. Set media controller. We're going to set those to the media controls. Okay. So next we have to deal with the URI. So what we'll do again, it's just VV video view, and here we're going to set the video URI. And now we set the URI in. So this could be an internet URI. You'll open some quotation marks because it's a string, and you put HTTPS, www, whatever the website is, and that's all you need to do to draw the video in from the internet. Obviously, remember to put the permissions for the internet in the Android manifest. We don't need permissions here because we're actually just going to look to the local resource folder. So we just need a little bit more code here. So URI, and it'll be .parse, and now we can put the URI in. So it'll be Android, and we need to put .resource and double colon. So that's like our HTTPS, and now we just need to append the package name here. So in Kotlin it's just package name. It'll be in Java, it'll be get package name. So again, just less coding to do. So it's package name. Just need to put a little / in there, and then we just need to make the reference to the raw directory. So it'd be r.raw and we're looking for test video. So that's what we need to do to bring the video in, and we then just need to put the catch in. So let's just put the catch elements in. So again, we're just looking for an exception, which we'll call E, and we'll log that message associated with E, which is the error, into the error log. So if it goes wrong, then at least we've got a reference to find out what the cause of the problem was. So let's just put the catch in, and just open some brackets here, and it'll be E : exception. Let's get that right. I just want to pull the Kotlin version in, and we're just going to log that to the error log, and it'll be e.message. So we just need to deal with this little error here. So we just need to do an alt enter to import that in. Okay, I'm just going to format the code, just get everything all lined up. Okay, so that's the video loaded in. So we want to deal with the playing side now. The first thing I'll do is actually ensure the video view has focus. We do that just by calling the request focus method. And now there's a little bit of a tricky bit. It's logical sense. We don't want the video to start playing until it's actually fully loaded. In other words, when it's prepared. And we can do this in Java and in Kotlin by setting an onPreparedListener. As you'll know, in Kotlin we don't then need to call the callback method. In Java, an onPreparedListener has an onPrepared callback method. Here the callback is just implied, so all we need to do is actually set the onPreparedListener. Another thing you might want to do if you just want to build on this tutorial is actually put a progress bar in. So when let's say you set the media controls, you might want to initiate a progress bar when you actually start to load the video in. So probably after you pass the URI, just set a progress bar going. When the onPreparedListener is finished, implying the video is loaded, then you can dismiss that progress bar or set it to invisible. I'm not going to do this because it's just going to add time really to the tutorial. I just want to focus on the core elements you need to actually get the video view working. So let's just set the onPreparedListener up. And we're going to do set onPreparedListener, and all we need to do now is just put a couple of lines of code in. Let's just take those brackets out, we don't want those. And what we'll do is, first of all, we want to move the video to where we are on the playback. It may be at the start, it may be another position further down. So let's use the seek to method to actually get the playback where we actually need it. Because if we change the screen orientation, we're going to reload that video. We won't be at the start. What we want to do is actually move it to the actual position, which we're going to save later on. I'll show you how to do that. So video view, and it'll be seek to. I'm just going to set that to position. Okay. So what we can say now, if the position is equal to 0, i.e. the start, then we'll start the video playing. And all we need to do to start it is video view, and it's just simply .start. Okay, so that captures the time when we're actually at the beginning. We're just going to start that. I'm just going to put an else in here. Because if we're at some other point, we're going to pause the video, and then we're just going to hit the play button again to start that going again. So video view. Oh, sorry, I need to else first. And it'll be VV video view, and we're just going to pause it. So if it's not 0, we're somewhere down the line. Let's just pause the video. Okay, so that's the actual playback taken care of. The final couple of methods we need to call are to deal with this screen rotation. It also deals with the instances if we're dropping out of the app and putting it in on-pause state and bringing it back. We can do this with two methods. That's the onsaved instance state for when we start a screen rotation or when we exit, and when we come back we can use it on restore instance state. That's when the rotation's finished and we can start the video again. So let's get those in place. So let's just come outside of the onCreate, and all we need to do is just start typing on saved instance states. And okay, we're looking at this out state's fine, we can use that. So I'll leave this, well actually we don't need the persistent bundle, so let's just take that out. Just take reference to it out here. We just want to deal with the out state. Okay, so the piece of code we want to put in here to say if the out state is not null, then we're going to put an integer value representing the position, the current position in the video. So let's just write the code in for that, and let's review it to see what's actually going on. So if out state does not equal null, then what we'll do, we'll just get the current position of the video and we'll save it. So it's out state, and what we want to do is just put an integer value. So let's put int, and we're going to set up a key here, make sure we get these spelt correctly between the save state and the restore state. So that's our key. What we need to do for the value is get the current position of the video. So it's video view, and it'd be current position. So in Java it's get current position, here it's just current position. And what we'll do then, we'll just pause the video. We'll just pause that. So that's all we need to do for the save state. Literally as soon as we start the rotation or exit the app and put it in a pause state, we're just going to get the current position, we're going to store that, and we'll stop the video playing. So what we need to do is actually start that again on the restore instance state. So let's just type on restore instance state, and we've got the reference to the bundle here again. So what we're looking for is just to set a value for position. So position, and obviously we're going to get that integer value, so it's going to be equal to saved instance state in this case, because that's our reference to the bundle which we saved, and it'd be get int, and we're looking for position. That's all we need to do to actually get that, and you'll notice it's got a little error here, so we're going to surround this with a null check, just to make sure it's not null. That's just one of the things we need to do with Kotlin, or you can put a double exclamation mark in there, but I think this is a little bit tidier. And then we just need to move the video to that position. So again, it's just using the seek_to method to actually get it there. So it'd be video view, and it'd be .seek_to, and it'd be position. Okay, so in terms of coding, that's all we need to do. You'll see, if you compare this with the Java version, I do have a Java version of this same tutorial, you can see there's a lot less coding actually needs to be done. So this one, the beauty of Kotlin, it just saves a lot of time in terms of code entry, so you can see why it's appealing to the professionals. And if you know Java, it's quite simple to make the transition over to Kotlin. I'm just going to review this, going to zoom in just to make sure you get a good look at the code. So all we did was actually set an integer value for the position, which represents the position in the playback, and I set up a variable for the media controls, which we're going to set later on. And that's the first thing we did. We actually checked to see if the media controls were equal to null, and then we just made a new object of the media controls. Then what we wanted to do was assign the media controls, associate them with the video view. The next thing to do is actually go and get the video, and we stored that video in the raw directory. That's our test video. If you wanted to use the internet, then you would need to put the string URL in at this point here and enable the internet permissions in the manifest. And then what we wanted to do is just set an onPreparedListener. That means we don't start the playback until the video is actually loaded and ready to play. So that's what the onPreparedListener does. And obviously we're just looking to see where we are. If the position is 0, then we know that's at the start of the video and we'll just start it playing automatically. If not, we'll just pause it and then we'll enable the controls and just hit the play button. We want to deal with screen rotation, so we set up the method on saved instance state, or function. Actually, I should use the right terminology. So the function on saved instance state allows us to, when we start a screen rotation, just to get the current position of the video, and we'll store that in a key value pair, the key being the value position here. And then when we finish that rotation, or actually when we come back to the app, if we've put it into an on-pause state, then we can reference that position using the get int with the key, and then we'll just move the video playback to that portion there, and again we'll just hit the play button to make sure that actually works. So all I need to do now is play that, and I'll be using the emulator to test this. You might get a slightly better performance on the on a real device. I'm just using the emulator here for convenience. So let's just give it a play and see what happens. Okay, so we have the app loaded here, so I'll just set this off, and you can see it's just started to play the video there. So I can pause that, I can fast forward, I can rewind, just play that again. Let's do a rotation, and you can see it's gone into pause state, but it's actually moved it to the position where the last playback finished. It hasn't reset it to the beginning, so if you don't get those orientation changes in place in the manifest, it will reset to the start. And let's just set that going again. And that looks to be all working pretty well. So so there we have it. That's really just a basic look at the video view in Kotlin. I hope you found this tutorial useful. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe if you find this tutorial useful. All the project files and source code are available for download on my website. Thank you.